you'll please rise, I'd like to bring the July 21st Mount Holly Council meeting to order. We meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibility to the past and to the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and on our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Glad you all could make it. Roll call. Melanie, when you're ready.
Mrs. Lingo. Here. Mrs. Moody. Mr. Parsons.
Here.
Ms. Peterson.
Here.
Mr. Redding.
Here.
Mrs. Dosa. Here. Mr. George.
Okay, Miss Moody is not here tonight. Would anyone like to excuse her?
Make a motion to excuse Miss Moody.
Okay, Mr. Redding has made a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. George has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, you have the minutes from the June 16th meeting before you. They also include the public hearing that we had. Does anybody have any corrections or anything that they've seen in the minutes?
Just a small typo.
Okay.
Under resolutions, the first one, the very last sentence, it should be a roll call vote instead of a toll call vote.
Okay, the T gets replaced with an R.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay, then I'd ask for a motion to adopt as corrected.
Make a motion to adopt as corrected.
Ms. Peterson has made a motion.
second that.
Mr. Parsons has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. I have no correspondence. You have in your packet the usual things from the police department and the finance chairman. But, okay. Does anybody else have any correspondence? All right, we have no guests or special events. Public input. It's hard to get much public input. The mayor is online.
I'm trying to figure out where to leave a comment, and I don't see anywhere to leave a comment. I don't know if it's because I'm on the mobile. So if anyone's watching and you are not able to leave a comment, you can email me at jwolf@mthealthy.org. That's jwolf@mthealthy.org. And I will check that throughout the meeting, and we'll come back to it if anyone has input. Apologize about that.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Committee reports. Business partnership, Mr. Peterson.
Okay, we did have a business association meeting. Again, not many people showed up, so they were not able to conduct any business. I did mention different things that were going on in the city, and I know one of the comments was concerning the fire levy, kind of mentioned that. They had received the letter, but they were kind of like, if there was some way that get information out there that they could ask questions, like a public forum type thing. So that was just their comment, that they could get more information. So I don't know if there, any way, because I know he had mentioned one time possibly doing.
We had mentioned it. Honestly, I've gotten a lot of pushback just over the concerts at this point, so I'm not doing plays either. I honestly don't know what to do at this
I
point.
know. Because they want to
Also,
get.
anyone that has questions can email Bill, myself, the chief,
Yeah.
Mr. Parsons. I've only gotten one or two emails so far, one from a resident and one from Mr. Herring. And They're pretty long. One of them was very long.
Very
So the chief and I spent a lot of time replying to it and bouncing the questions off. But we're more than happy to respond to anyone's questions, so.
Okay.
And I also know our fire department has been doing a Q&A session on Nextdoor.
Oh,
So
okay.
they can also go on there.
There.
Yeah, I know, it's this whole thing is very difficult. The chief really wants to
Yeah.
go door to door to talk to people, but that's just
Yeah,
not
that's
appropriate
not-
right now.
Yeah. So that was really all just general discussions. And then the Mount Healthy Alliance, they're still down. They served 270 families in June, so. And they're just let you know that they're still out there if people need food and assistance, so they're still open. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Any questions for Judy? Okay, Jenny Moody, beautification. She is not here. The pots are all out. We're barely keeping them alive, are we? It's dry.
Trying.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, good for you.
good.
Thank you for that. Finance, Mr. Parsons.
I briefly reviewed the statements that were in the packet, revenues primarily, and they are better than expected. We received an email from Rita, the taxing authority, with an updated projection of the amount that we may lose, and it's much more optimistic than originally. So they are collecting more than they expected for us, both for the city of Mount Healthy and for the JED Z. So revenues are doing better than we thought they might. I looked at expenses as well briefly. I was happy to see that the police overtime is way below budget. I think that's probably because they haven't been going to court, but that's a good thing. That gives them some time off and lets them catch up. There were a couple of expenses that popped out at me, which I did not look into yet. I'm going to call a committee meeting for before the next council meeting, August 18th, 6:15 in Mr. Coker's office. And the clerk will be getting the statements to us hopefully by around the 10th of August. If the committee members have questions, please email them to Mr. Coker at least a few days ahead of our meeting, and then we'll try to get through the meeting in half hour, 40 minutes. I think that's all I have on finance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Parsons. Parks, Ms. Lingo?
I don't have a report, and I was unable to go to the concerts, but I heard that they were well attended. Did anybody else go?
The pushback is over the fact that we're having too many people in the park, or?
Yes, I drove through, there was a good crowd. It was almost 150 people there for the first concert, I guess. But from what I saw, people were distanced and people were wearing masks and people were complying. So that's how I responded to the people that reached out. I do think that people were handling themselves responsibly, so I don't have an issue with it. I think it went well.
Good, good.
Yeah, I have been at both concerts, and the first one was rather crowded, but
Yeah.
people were distancing and behaving. And the second one wasn't quite as crowded, but it was a very good concert. Just to mention, we have one this Friday and then seven more following, all the way up till Labor Day every Friday, 7:30 to 9:30. And the bands have been very good.
Hopefully it won't be so
Good,
hot.
thank you.
It's not that hot, no, it's in the shade.
Yeah.
And there's been a little breeze, so it's been pleasant. I'll say pleasant.
Good.
Thank you.
That's it.
Streets and safety, Mr. Redding.
Just two things. If you haven't seen the chief's report for both police and fire EMS, check them out. They're in your packet. Secondly, the state of Ohio government passed our skip funding bill or capital improvement bill. So in talking with Bill last week, it appears that we, Adams Road and Elizabeth Street going north and Hickman Street going north will maybe start this fall. So, good news.
Yes, that is good news.
So other than that, that is all I have.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have a schedule on bidding and things for that project yet?
No, I do not have any of that. I haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
It's just good to, Mayor mentioned last meeting that they had put money back in the budget for this, and that's, you were right on top of it, thank you.
Yep.
It's good to hear. Any other questions? Okay, schools, Mr. Cordell, or Mr. George.
I have a few answers for folks out there wondering what the return to school might look like and how healthy. So recently it's been decided that around 40% of students will be returning to our buildings, with the other 60% being remote. And this has been decided by a team of parents, children, district officials, administrators, who all provided input to make these decisions. And for the remote students, they'll continue to learn on a CAD device, which is a mobile hotspot. They can have access to things from home. And then specifically for children grades kindergarten through 3rd grade, the district is going to be purchasing plexiglass shields to cover the front and sides of each student's desk, which they hope might limit the need for younger students to wear masks during the day in school. And that's all I have.
Okay, Mr. George, I have a question. That 40% and 60%, does that stay the same group of people all the time, or do they mix it back and forth?
I think they're working that out as far as which students can go and which can't, and that's what the
Well, there's, you know,
statistics are.
do they have the ability to do it at home on their own? Some kids do, some kids will not, so,
Some parents
okay.
would like
Yeah,
to
just,
stay home regardless.
yes, okay.
Question, is the break like between grade school and, I would assume the majority of the high schoolers aren't going, or is there some?
Across the board, over 40% chose to do virtual. They individually contacted every family and asked if they wanted to send
okay.
their kids or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the ones that are not going will be doing digital, and then the ones that are in school will be a small enough group that we can social distance.
What's the current enrollment K through 12?
Think about 3,000.
3,000? So pretty typical. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I just hope this all works out for the kids that are doing this remotely, because, yes,
I will say this, the new superintendent has done a great job communicating with staff and with families. The fact that each family, they had plans set up if enough people chose to go digital, and a separate plan set up if not enough chose to go digital. Enough chose to go digital, that all the families that want their kids to go every day of the week can go every day of the week, and it'll be safe, or at least, yeah.
all right.
And then
that's
they're
very
doing the
good.
same with staff. So the staff is actually choosing whether they want to be a digital teacher or teaching in the classroom. So I just chose today in the classroom, so I'll be working with small class sizes. Other teachers will be teaching the kids online. Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, once again, everybody's working hard towards making
Yeah.
this work, and I hope it does, but I guess I just have some misgivings on whether it's,
I wouldn't be looking forward to the shields in cold season.
No. No.
True.
I wouldn't want to be the person cleaning them.
Gross.
okay, moving on. Library, Ms. Dosa. Okay, thank you. It is still closed?
Yep.
Wow.
Because I had to drop my book off.
Urban Tree, Ms. Lingo?
Yes, Karen Arnett sent me a updated tree commission report, if I could take a moment to read this. In early July, the Ohio Division of Natural Resources Regional Urban Forester Wendy Van Buren met with a member of the tree commission to prune some of the street trees planted by the commission. Some were an attempt to repair damage done by Duke Power Line pruning contractors, and these were honey locusts planted in 2012 and 13 on Elizabeth. Wendy will come back over the next few years and work with the commission to prune them and gradually restore their structure, which will allow them to reach maturity as viable street trees. For now, they're hanging down low in Elizabeth, but the tree commission has communicated with nearby neighbors to ask them to, for their patience and allow the trees to continue to be low-hanging for the present, since they've been severely pruned this year. And Wendy advised minimal pruning for the time being. Typically, no more than 25% of top growth should be removed at any time of the year. And then Mount Healthy, this got cut off, has been selected by Taking Root Tree Planting Advocacy, I can't talk with this mask on, organization to be its partner for 2021 Duke Energy Foundation Energy Saving Trees Program. And they have asked for a letter of support due by the end of the week, which the mayor has taken care of that for Karen. And then they received a mini grant of around $900 from Taking Root in 2017, which about half funded the planting of the trees on Perry Street. And she said that it's exciting that they see our tree program as worthy of partnering with us, and they tend to select communities to partner with that have a proven track record for tree programs. The program will provide roughly 40 trees to volunteering residents to plant in their yards, selecting a location with the help of software called iTree, which calculates energy savings from trees. iTree does much more, but it's all about the economic benefits of trees in the urban setting. This will be a good opportunity to educate residents about the benefits of trees. And then finally, she said this is a plea to residents who have relatively young trees in their yard or tree lawns to please water their trees with the gradual watering of 5 gallons per inch diameter of the tree trunk at ground level weekly during the dry and hot seasons. Trees can sustain damage from drying out, which may only show up several years later. It doesn't always show immediately. And don't put off watering because of some rain, because that doesn't always get down to the roots. And they're continuing to look for one more new tree commissioner. Anyone who cares to see more trees in our neighborhood and wants to volunteer some of their time, they can contact the city office to do so. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, sir. Got your hair cut?
I need a haircut. I look like a boy.
Questions for Denise? All right, thank you. We Thrive is Jenny Moody. Mayor, do you have anything on that, or?
Yeah, not much since the last time. We're gonna be doing the community audit soon. That's what we're doing this month. And then just helping out with the farmer's market, actually. There is one other thing, actually. Kim Rollins from Square Mile approached us, and she found bike racks that are also sculptural pieces. And there's one that looks like a coffee mug, there's one that looks like a donut, one that looks like a pizza, a lot of things like that. So we are brainstorming now to figure out possibly through We Thrive and a combination of other funds, purchasing some of those, maybe working with business owners to do like a matching grant, that if they want to put one outside of their business that matches, we could help fund that as well. So that there were just preliminary discussions. We haven't had our official meeting yet, but that is something that's both in our Urban Fast Forward plan and in our We Thrive plan. So I think that would be kind of neat. It would make us unique as well.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, donut one outside of Little Dutch sounds
Yeah.
perfect, doesn't it?
Pizza in front of Angela.
So that's it for We Thrive.
Okay, thank you. Well, then right on to the mayor's report, Mr. Wolf.
I'll start off with the first things that ties in. It actually reminded me when you were talking about the library. Ours is still not open. The library is, I did have a librarian reach out to me. They are giving out free library books to kids this summer. And they, I guess you can get on their website and figure out where. They are available to kids in our community through neighboring libraries as well. But another thing that ties into the libraries. Walgreens is closing at the end of the month. They're closing a lot of their stores nationwide and regionally. They closed the one at Coleraine and Galbraith. Apparently, they've lost several of the contracts with insurance for prescription. My understanding is CareSource and Express Scripts are two of them that they lost recently. So anyway, as soon as we heard that, Bill and I talked, and we actually reached out to the library board ourselves to let them know that that property will be up for
Okay.
sale. Because honestly, that's a pretty prime location
Yes.
for a new library, whether they use the existing
Plenty
building or
parking.
something new. So,
Question on that.
you know, they won't tell us, sorry?
Just wondering, does Walgreens own that property, or did they were leasing it?
I don't know that answer, to
Yeah.
be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, but we both thought, especially coming from South Elementary and the high school, a lot of kids go after school, having them right there.
Yeah.
It's a good location.
Great.
So who knows if they'll take us up on it. We know they already had some other sites that they liked in town. They're kind of like us when we purchase property. They're quiet about it, so, because they don't want people to jack the prices up. So who knows if they'll run with that or another idea, but we did float it to them. The Port Authority actually reached out to us as well. They were inquiring, apparently the Cincinnati Preservation Association is now releasing revolving loan funds that they're making available. And they reached out to us specifically about the main theater. So Jim replied with our plans to Bill and to the port, and we are just starting talking to them, because we are going to be meeting, Jim and I are planning on meeting soon to, I need to reach out to Jim soon, because we want to meet up to start getting things going again. We do have all our architectural drawings, but now it's time to start kicking it in gear with fundraising, and this could be the thing that does that. Little Dutch, as you all know, celebrating their 100th anniversary. I just want to let you all kind of know the plans. I haven't talked too much about it because we were hoping to surprise Chris. My original thought was to surprise him on the 3rd of July during the fireworks. We do have a proclamation from the state Senate. We have a proclamation from the General Assembly, and then we have a plaque and key to the city from Mount Healthy that we've had made. We have them all downstairs. Our hope was to surprise him, you know, get Mary involved and surprise him at the fireworks, but that couldn't happen. So I reached out to Mary Gearman and asked her what she thought we should do. If she wanted to do it at one of the concerts on a Friday night or have it at their store. And they want to think about it because they want to make a big deal out of it as well. We'd like to do a press release and maybe have the state reps and state senators here and make a big deal out of it. So I think we're waiting right now, hoping things open back up this year. I mean, this is the 100th anniversary, so hopefully this calendar year we can get it done. If not, then we'll do something different. But at this point, she has told Chris, so it's not a surprise, so I'll talk about it. I'm leaving the ball in their court. It's their business and their celebration. I want them to figure out the best time to do it. I've had several comments over the past few months. Why haven't you done anything for Little Dutch? I didn't want to say I'm going to because I wanted it to be a surprise for Chris. But now that the surprise is gone, just want to let people know that we do recognize how important they are, and we are trying to figure something out.
That's good.
And then the last thing is just the fire levy is in 2 weeks. Yeah, like I said, I'm a bit frustrated with just the inability to knock on doors, or we could have the event. I think we're cutting it kind of close now. If anybody thinks we really should have one, I mean, we still can. Just email me or Bill within the next couple days, because we'll have to get something scheduled up at the park. I do think it's worthwhile. I've just been a little hesitant because of some of the pushback that I've gotten over having any events. But I do think before a levy would be important. So we could do something maybe August 1st or 2nd, you know, during the day at the park, and I'd be open to that. So if you have a strong opinion one way or another, let me know or email me, and we can arrange something. Otherwise, people can email us. On the city website, it has all the letters. There's a letter from me, a letter from the fire chief, that's actually going to be mailed out. Do we know when that's going to be
No, I
mailed?
was going to ask you, is that next week maybe?
I believe so.
That's the week before the election.
Yes, so there should be a second letter coming, this one from the fire chief. It's already posted online for people to read. We have the informational video posted online. So there's a lot of information out there, and all of them have our contacts on it. So people can contact us, and I would love if people did, because I'm happy to answer these questions. But anyway, 2 weeks from today. It's supposed to be in person. That's what we have been told. There will be in-person voting. And then also you can do the early voting at the Board of Elections or absentee ballot. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor on any of that? Okay, Mr. Coker's not here, so Mr. Bauer's not here. Melanie, you want to make a report?
No.
Okay. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions. We have no second readings, so we got to move on to new first readings. An ordinance assessing cost for the removal of high grass and weeds and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 20-1912. Any discussion? We do this quite regularly.
Does anybody know if the administrative fee has been raised? It looks like these are higher than they used to be. Didn't we vote to increase that?
Seems like we did.
I think we voted
I
a
think
couple
we
months
did.
ago to increase it.
Good,
Okay, so this must be
reflecting that.
higher. I make a motion to suspend the two reading rule.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Parsons has made a motion to suspend the two reading rule. Mr. Redding has seconded. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mrs. Moody? Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Ms. Peterson?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa? Mr. George?
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, the two reading rule has been suspended. Any other discussion? And I ask for a motion to adopt. Okay, Ms. Dosa has made a motion to adopt. Mr. George has seconded. Roll
Mrs.
call.
Lingo?
Aye.
Mrs. Moody? Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Ms. Peterson?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa? Mr. George?
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, ordinance number 20-1912 is adopted. Next one is an ordinance number 20-1913, an ordinance assessing costs of the removal of trash and debris and declaring an emergency. 1380.
Yep.
Mayor, do you have any information on this one?
I do not.
Do we have somebody that just moved out and left a bunch of junk, or?
Let me see what
You want me to
building
look
that
it up
is.
since you got your
That's
phone?
all right.
Compton.
I do not have information on it.
Well, apparently the city had to go pick up, so.
Yep.
Looks like.
I make a motion to suspend the two reading rule.
Okay, Mr. Redding's made a motion to suspend. Do I have a second? Ms. Dosa, seconded. Roll call.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mrs. Moody? Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Ms. Peterson?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa? Mr. George?
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, the two reading rule is suspended. Mr. Mayor,
This is the office, the old doctor's office building at Affinity Place. That's been empty for a while. It's owned by an LLC.
Yeah, across the street from the dialysis, across the street from the Chinese church.
Down by Clovernook Apartments, yeah.
I didn't even know it was closed.
Yeah, been close for a while.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 20-1913.
Mr. Parsons has made a motion to adopt. Ms. Lingo has seconded.
Mrs. Lingo,
Aye.
Mrs. Moody, Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Ms. Peterson,
Aye.
Mr. Redding,
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa, Mr. George.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, ordinance 20-1913 is adopted. Next ordinance. Ordinance number 20-1914. An ordinance assessing costs for the replacement of a private lead service lines and declaring an emergency. These are all listed, the individuals. And if you remember the program we have set up to help people get this done,
Right.
that's what they're applying for. I think it's a good thing. Just get that lead out of our drinking water. Any questions or comments?
Do we need to do an emergency or,
Well, yeah, they
Matter.
declared an emergency.
well, I mean,
Well, that's a different,
Yeah.
that's a
Right.
different thing.
We,
whether we need to do it tonight or not?
Mayor?
I'm not sure. I talked to Bill today, and he didn't mention whether it had to be done tonight.
It won't be on their property taxes till February,
Anyway, yeah.
Right.
January anyway.
Probably wait.
Well, you want to go with the first reading then?
Yeah.
Think so.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, first reading tonight on 20-1914. Okay, then we have a resolution. A resolution declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitations and declaring an emergency. This is an in-case
Yeah,
resolution.
just in case one.
If we don't get through in August. Any questions or comments on this? And we would need to pass this tonight, right?
Yeah,
Or do we have, well, our next meeting's a month away yet, so we need
Yeah,
to
we
do
need
it
it
tonight.
tonight.
right.
Okay,
It needs to be filed right after the August
yes.
election.
I'll make a motion to suspend the two reading rule.
Second?
Okay, Ms. Peterson's made a motion to suspend. Mr. Redding has seconded. Roll call.
Mrs. Lingo,
Aye.
Mrs. Moody, Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Ms. Peterson,
Aye.
Mr. Redding,
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa, Mr. George.
Okay, the two reading rule's been suspended by a 6-0 vote. Any other questions or comments before we move on? Okay, ask for a motion to adopt then.
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 20-1148.
Okay?
I'll
Mr.
second
George? And Mr. Parsons has seconded.
Mrs. Lingo,
Aye.
Mrs. Moody, Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Ms. Peterson,
Aye.
Mr. Redding,
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa, Mr. George.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, resolution number 20-1148 is adopted. That is all of our legislation. Mayor, take a moment. You haven't heard from anybody.
I have not.
Okay,
No, I keep checking.
all right. Old Business Council. New business?
I have one quick thing. I forgot to mention it when Joe was talking about the OPWC funding being approved. We're hoping it gets moved forward this year. One of the issues now, which is good that it's happening now, is I guess the water lines are gonna need to be replaced on Elizabeth. So, and maybe on Hickman, but definitely on Elizabeth. So there's gonna have to be some collaboration there as well, which may push back that construction a little bit so that the water lines can be replaced.
Yeah,
I'd
got-
rather it be done before the streets.
Yes,
replaced.
absolutely.
So, that is one thing that Bill and I talked about today. So funding's been approved, it'll happen. We're hoping it happens this year, but the water may push it back a little bit.
So as long as we
So
get
is it the
approved, we
main
got-
and the services?
I'd assume so. I'm not quite sure.
They usually just go to the curb, Joe. From the main to the curb.
And if everybody
Yeah.
has a lead line, they would have to pay for the extras.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like,
Just like we approved with these.
Yeah.
It's just a lateral.
right. But, well, that's why I was asking, was it, or were they replacing the main too, or making
Yes,
it
the-
bigger or something like that? So.
Well, they,
Because Bill and I
if
did
the
not talk
waterworks is
about that
involved,
last week.
they'll be, they have to replace the main before they'll bother with the laterals at all. Because the main, I don't know what's there. If it's a 4-inch, it's probably only pumping enough water for a 2-inch. You know, because they're
Yeah,
clogged-
after all this time, yes.
Because they're all clogged
Yeah.
up. So,
Yeah,
yeah, you have to replace the main
yeah.
before you do anything.
Most of that stuff cast iron, I guess?
The mains,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
but they clog up from the hard water.
yeah, yep.
Any other new business, council?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Mr. George has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Joe, can I
Yes?
talk to you for a minute?